This whole thing has started because of the ongoing, smuggling of drugs and alcohol through the mail.
A Manitoba chief is sounding the alarm over what he is calling a raging epidemic of bootlegging and drug dealing in a northern First Nation community. Chief Evan Yassi of Tadoule Lake First Nation, located about 1,000 kilometers from Winnipeg, says his community is continually receiving Canada Post parcels, packages, and mail filled with illegal drugs and alcohol.
I know cocaine is one of them. I know a couple of times there was meth. And then they have all these different types of crazy pills that they have on the streets. And so that's what's coming in. And, alcohol.
Chief Yassi says the substances are taking a deadly toll on his community members. He believes drugs mixed with alcohol played a role in the recent death of a 21-year-old male who died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound during an attempted arrest by RCMP. The IIU is now investigating the incident.
I know that the chief has set up a meeting with Canada Post, but also we want to be involved in that discussion to see how we can address this, because that's where the problem is.
Manitoba Keewatin-Nawioki-Mackinac Grand Chief Garrison Settee says drugs and booze entering remote communities have been an ongoing issue for years. Settee has raised concerns about the need for First Nations safety officers to be allowed to inspect packages arriving through Canada Post to then acting Premier Kelvin Goertzen in September of 2021. A statement in response by Kelvin Goertzen reads in part, "I appreciate the efforts of Grand Chief Settee in continuing to highlight the real problem of drug dealing in Northern First Nations and the concern that these drugs may be finding their way to the community through the postal system." Goertzen adding he will be raising this issue with the Federal Minister of Justice personally during a meeting scheduled later this week.
So we're checking bags, checking parcels, physical pat-downs at the airport and at the train stations, wherever they may be.
James Favel, president of the First Nations Community Response Corporation, has worked with community leaders to enforce the Intoxicants Prohibition Bylaw enacted under the Indian Act, which prohibits sale, supply, or manufacture of intoxicants on reserves. Favel says he's had team members in place at times more than 40 days in a row, making sure illegal drugs and alcohol are not entering the community.
In the last community that we were in, when we were fighting with holding up their BCR, CFS contacts went down, violence went down. These are positive outcomes. This is what we want to see.
As for Chief Yassi, he says a cohesive government approach is required to combat the crisis in his community, which he worries will get worse with the opening of ice roads.
Once that's open, I don't know what else is going to come in on that winter road.
City News reached out to Canada Post for interview. They did not respond by time of broadcast. In Winnipeg, Mark Neufeld, City News.